Okay. Hello, everybody, again and again and again. Thank you very much for attending. I've just been going over with the students here about a show that I'll be talking about later on. Yeah, so I won't cover it right now, but it's a very interesting subject. It's involved in the process of what I'm doing, the harmonic reality of the planet, and how evolution works in order to bring about chakra alignment and bring in a right relationship and the infusion of a connection to God, yeah, and destroying what it is that's drawing us off to the left. Even though we don't know exactly what that is, most people, yeah, it is. Yeah. So this particular thing, the show, yeah, that's involved in that is very much clearly description, yeah, of that kind of thing. Yeah, so I'll be explaining that later on, yeah, in other meditations and in the darshan. Yeah. But right now we're just going to focus on the relationship of the invocation evocation. So we're going to do the invocation evocation of angels, two pujas of angels, yeah. And all the time when we're doing this, this is a ceremonial relationship of 7 days a week, yeah. And the hours of time and the influence of sequence and matter and the movement, all the things that go on in natural order, spiritual natural order, are part of the number system, geometry, geometric patterns. Yeah, so our pattern is that we have 7 days in our week. Yeah, and that's a very important process. Yeah, we have 60 minutes. We have all these other things. Yeah, but we have 7 days in a week. We have 7 chakras in that process, and we look at everything in a breakdown on a calendar or like in a watch or in events, and we see things in that way. So on an invisible level, we're performing ceremonial magic. Yeah, and if that is taken in work like I'm doing, yeah, or like in Tibet, if you go there, you'll see that they have a calendar of events that go on, and they carry on ceremonies that work in relationship to either past life divine events that happen during the incarnation of an avatar, or a past life divine event that had to do with an event, yeah, and or a up and coming event like the coming of the avatar, the coming of Maitreya, the second, or the energy of the Buddha coming in to the manifestation of humanity. Sakyamuni moving in one consciousness and Maitreya moving into another consciousness. Yeah, so that whole influence inside of humanity is based on ceremonial order, yeah, for it to really manifest. And it's not in a, like we got to do it this way or something like that. It's just that in the hierarchy, it's an automatic, spontaneous situation. It's an aspect of revelation. So as you're having revelation, you're having more and more revelation about this relationship between God and ceremonial order. The sun coming up, it becomes more spiritual to you. It's not a six-ray thing at all. It literally, you become part of the sun. Yeah? You become part of the spiritual order of things. And it is not an intellectual thing. Yeah? It's simply because you've been a very nice person the day before, and the day before, and the day before. Because those days were holy days. And you were that because those days were holy days. And you didn't want to make those days an unholy day. Yeah? But if you specify, only 8 days out of the year are holy days, so I got all the time I need. And at the end of the year, I can make all these little commitments that I will no longer be as unholy. Yeah? I'll make a commitment that I'll make change to be less unholy, more of a better person for myself or for other people. That's bullshit. That's ceremonial magic working against you. Yeah? Yeah. So, what's that? Camera is off. Well, good for you. How's that? All right, we're on. Yeah, well, could they hear me? All right, great. Yeah, well, at least you saw the earth and everything. All right. So the influence that comes to ceremonial relationship, it's only there because of the reality of the reincarnation of the avatar. Yeah, it's always alive. Yeah, we're ever present, not aware of it. Yeah, we're ever present, not aware of the fact that okay, you might have incarnated at this time, but the avatar incarnated at a other time. Yeah, but it's in your time. Yeah, and it's not in the process. When you have a veiling process, it veils that scenario that you are incarnated during the time, and you're always incarnated during the time of the avatar. But there are special times for you that you could be incarnated during the time of the avatar. But the real reality is that you're always incarnated during the time of the avatar. So that's what creates holy days, the process of beginning ceremonial order. It's not waiting for the coming of the avatar or praying because the avatar had come or maybe come. You're so telepathic that you're aware the avatar is here. Yeah? And never a time that the avatar is not here. It's just that you're not seeing what the avatar is doing. Yeah? You might be in Zimbabwe someplace and having a very long walk all the way to India. Yeah? Taking him 8 years. And by all chances, you didn't happen to run across him. Yeah? But he's still here. Yeah? Just because you didn't run across him doesn't mean that he's not here. Yeah? And you only live maybe 40 or 50 years, so what's the chance of the avatar, you running across the avatar during that cycle of time? But yet, he's here. Yeah? So we have to take in consideration the reality of reincarnation so that we can have the avatar here. It's not like, oh, now we can invoke the avatar to be here. Just come to a realization the avatar is always here. Yeah? So every day is a holy day. Yeah? It may be bad for you, but it's not bad for the avatar. Does that make sense? Whatever's going on, the avatar is kind of like working through it. Yeah? But you are doing your best. But the avatar is doing much better. Yeah? And can actually see cause and all kinds of things, because that's an evolutionary sensory reality for us. That constant ceremonial order. The sun comes up, the sun goes down, the moon goes around. Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah? And when that happens, you are part of a dance. You're part of a song. Yeah? You're part of every time the alignments take place, it's rippling through you in an orchestra, in a rhythm, in a vibration. And that avatar is sensing that and singing along with it and doing invocations and saying and doing things, just like I do today. Does that make sense? Yeah? Because I'm always in a place of being the one who sees ahead. Because I'm in higher mind. I'm enlightened. I'm Buddha. Yeah? I'm not in lower mind. Not, like seeing it, even though it is the way it is. Yeah? I'm seeing it worked out. Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah? So that's the influence of a holy day, is the fact that even though we're in disharmony or all kinds of problems in the world or personal problems, yeah, there is a true source that comes through that allows us to connect, that disconnects from the other source, the Luciferian qualities. Yeah? A magic that is completely doing all its job to veil the White Lodge. Yeah? By externalizing because they can't externalize. Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah? By claiming to be them because they can't claim to be them. Yeah? They're busy meditating. Yeah? They're busy being 8 years old. Yeah? Does that make sense? While the ones claiming to be them are like 60 years old and they've been bullshitting since the beginning of time. Yeah? And because they're really good con artists and you've been listening to them for a long time, and they all are represented by Lucifer, the deceiver, the liar. Yeah? So it's real hard for teachers like myself to come forth and help you gain clarity as to what's going on. So I use, because who I use the largest manifestation of externalization of the fourth ray that's ever been exhibited. Nothing's ever been exhibited like this. I use video, I use audio, I use, interdimensional relationships, 3D, 4D. I use a relationship of where you can put your goggles on, all of a sudden you're merged into a situation. I set it up so that we can get a sensory relationship to awaken and not be limited by the Luciferian process, even though we're being given opportunity to grab a gun and play all the gun games, all the hostile games we can. We will for a while, but we'll burn out. And that won't last. Yeah? And then we'll move on to the fact that now we're master gamers. What do we do with that? Yeah? And that moves into a whole new field of opportunity for humanity. And they're not wasting their time on playing games anymore, but they have skills that have been developed that could have never been developed without them working out harmony through conflict, working out all these things that now they don't have to go to war for. They don't have to go into all these different things for. They can play them out. Does that make sense? Yeah? Yeah? So most of that is, whether it be through grunge, and heavy metal, which means you don't know how to play a guitar, which means you have never taken an instrument and learned how to tune it, yeah, and you have no interest because that's your way, asshole, yeah, and and bang your ears and everything, It's an area that has everything to do with not learning music, not learning how to play any instrument whatsoever. A whole other genre came in, when the 60s and the 50s came, people who were in there, they took instruments to their heart, yeah? And they learned it all the way through until they had an extreme dexterity in their abilities, yeah? And out comes rock and roll, yeah? And that changed everything, and that's part of ceremonial magic. We move into rhythm, and we move into ceremonial order, and we do it in a spontaneous way. It allows us to express things like love that we couldn't express before, because it would all be about, oh, I love you, you love me, I love you, I'll die for you, you die for me, just songs about that sixth ray quality. Yeah. But when it comes to the second ray, let's have world peace. Yeah? Let's see ourselves in a loving way, Let's come to San Francisco and have a flower and love each other, and start a whole new culture. Not in a sixth ray way. Yeah? Does that make sense? And that came through music, and it came through, wasn't really rock and roll, but it was through invocation, evocation, coming from the heart. Yeah? And that's the fourth ray. That's how the fourth ray works. And the same thing with the movie industry or any other thing that I'm putting out. It's a way to take what is and could have been conflict, which continually makes conflict, and give that creative flow someplace to go. Yeah? Not in a stifled place where it has no place to go, but where it has some place to go. Yeah? So by creating these industries, I created the opportunity for speeding up humanity to have the ability to have fourth ray energy manifest inside of humanity. That is nearly 1,000 years in advance. Yeah? We're by no means, that high level of the nations and humanity. We're not that high consciousness to be working in such a sphere of music and celebration and order and heart and healing. Yeah? But that's the energy that's being produced inside of humanity. Yeah? And they're responding to that. And that was just during the hippie movement. Just in the 60s, the 70s, and the early 50s. Yeah? And that was all coming out of, let's love each other kind of thing, into let's love the whole world. Yeah? So that transcendence, only comes from the fourth ray. Yeah? And the fourth ray is when it's sitting at the base and it's represented in that way, in ceremony, like in a song, yeah? And then everybody gets to get together, and everybody goes, okay, I can say I love you, okay, I can say I hug you, yeah? Okay, I can say we don't have to get married, okay, I can say, well, actually, I do love you, but now I know what love is, yeah? And all those things could be learned in a very short period of time through ceremonial magic. And nobody knew that. Does that make sense? Yeah? So the influence that comes with the fourth ray comes with spontaneity. Yeah? And the process, if you suppress it, if you put it up at the brow, that whole process comes in the process to where your mom tells you who you have to marry. Yeah? You have no expectations of what your job's going to be because you're caste. You're of a certain order or your mom and dad simply didn't go to college, and you didn't have the money and you didn't buy into the system and you didn't get the credibility, so your children can't marry on into this process. Yeah, and that's fourth ray, because we're of this earth. And it's misrepresented in the most evil form. That's what creates the conflict of all the karma in the world. It's not the terrorists or everything, but it's the weakness that the terrorists do to make it possible for us to be treated like that in our homes. Does that make sense? By people we love the most. And they have no control over what they're saying because it's culture. They're bound by it. Does that make sense? That's ceremonial magic in a totally other way. So it's also fourth ray. And it's also conflict to everybody in that house. Yeah? Muslims are going crazy because their little Muslim child is becoming a Christian and wants to marry a white Christian man. They want to kill this little Muslim girl for that kind of action because the sixth ray is so strong in that ceremonial order. So it's the fourth ray. Really, all of it is playing with the energy of the fourth ray, whether it's at the brow or whether it's at the base. And all of that comes through the influence of the third ray. Yeah? So where we're getting our psychic energy and how that psychic energy is then being distributed has everything to do with what's attracted to us. Yeah? So imagine that there's dark lodge. Yeah? Well, how do we get rid of the dark lodge? Yeah? We dispel it. We dispel the glamour. Yeah? Yeah? It is in the form of people, places, and things. Yeah? But it's not real. Yeah? So by doing this ceremonial magic, yeah, and manifesting that relationship, yeah, just by creating these tools and everything, but also by coming in 1950 and creating, the relationship of rock and roll and the relationship of the hippie movement and all these things that moved in that process of ceremonial magic. Now we have iTunes and we have movies out of 8 or 9 or 10 different directions, and each one of them make their own films. Netflix and all these different companies are now making educational, highly enlightened, moving films. And each one of those things that go out into humanity blocks us, protects us from falling into the hands of ceremonial magic on the dark side when we're real weak. Yeah? And we don't get weak. Because all these things get worked out in these mental, emotional, physical fields known as a movie or a song. Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah? Because you just have no idea how ceremonial magic works. But in the White Lodge, it works this way. Yeah? Yeah? As White Lodge shamans, we do plays. We tell stories. Yeah? We tell mythological stories that give a direction. We're like Jesus, giving parables and stories. Yeah? That's how it's done. Yeah? So just bring me back 2,000 years later, and I'm going to do the same thing through movies, yeah, and through albums and different ways. Yeah? All of it is the same. And it's the only way you end worry. Because worry is what comes from that fourth ray going on the way it is. And you need it expressed to you in a way that moves you into the Dharma field. Yeah? So that when you do watch TV, you're attracted to the Dharma TV rather than, whoa, so much Karma TV. Because 99.9% is Karma TV. Yeah, they even had a Karma channel one time. You go into a bar and you can't get out, and horrible, weird ass shit things would take place in the middle of that, that bar, So Look it up one day. It only went on for about 6 months or something, but it was a very strange TV program. Yeah, but the whole thing, fourth ray, is something that if we understand the rays, which most people don't, but I try to explain it mainly because it's the only process that is actually going on in relationship to invocation, evocation. Because if you stir something, if you move chemicals together, or if you play notes together, or if you have 7 chakras and they're all working together, yeah, in the way that they're supposed to, it creates an immediate bridging process that allows every single thing to work together. Everything, yeah. It's a very interesting ceremonial magic. Yeah, and it's the only thing that it's what's known as the Christ principle, but it's the only thing that creates the influence of the Christ consciousness. Yeah, is the influence of those 7 chakras, and those 7 chakras work in relationship to the 7 days. Yeah, so if you're not holy every day, guess what? One of your chakras didn't get it. Does that make sense? Yeah, I mean, you got to really consider what I'm talking about, because this is a constant, consistent thing. Yeah, if this is done consistently, yeah, there's no process to where you could do whatever you want and you can make a commitment at the end of January, or you can start being holy on December 1st and do your litany. I've been helping in that process just to help you be active, but now is. There's a reason why you need to be really, really active, and you shouldn't have to be monks and nuns to do that. Yeah, it's not just to counteract a horrible event in the world, but it's to counteract the process of channeling that goes on in the world. Yeah, and the benefit of humanity, and how much the influence, if we radiate light, how much will that influence affect the incoming relationship of new children? Because if we have a radiating of light, if we try now, if we do this every day, yeah, it's a whole new world for children to come into. It's a world with light, and people meditating, possible mothers and fathers, neighbors, cousins, aunts, uncles, that are radiating with true light. And those children can come in and they have something to grow on in that process. It's not a fanatical thing. It's not a religion. You got to be a Catholic. You got to be this. But you absolutely got to believe in God. Does that make sense? And just, that's it, got to believe in God. Then do your best to realize God is incarnated, yeah, as much as you possibly can, yeah, and move that into reality, yeah, so that people can resonate with that, knowing only because every day is a holy day, yeah. There's not a Sunday's a better day, got to go to church on Sunday, yeah. Monday's the day we can go do anything we want. Friday's the day we can party. Saturday's the day we can party. Sunday's the day we can party. Go to college, every day is a day to party. I mean, just, no day is a day to party. Yeah? Every day is a day to be holy. And to be holy is to be inspired. Yeah? It's to wake up inspired. Yeah? What a great day. What another holy day. Thank you, Lord, for being here. For being here. Yeah? For me being here. I could be dead. I would be dead. Yeah? Thank God I'm not, And if I die, I'm in a world that the Lord is in. Yeah? Holy moly, that's a whole lot better than thinking I got to go to heaven to meet the Lord. Does that make sense? This shuts out Satan. This makes this place the place. Does that make sense? Because if you don't, you're going to have a supervisor. Does that make sense? Yeah. And you're all so prepared for a supervisor. Not a religious thing, but a supervisor, yeah. Oh, yeah, that makes sense. That's just how I would do it. Yeah. Not religious at all. Yeah. So, anyway, for those who were here earlier, I talked about that show, and that's what I'm focusing on. But the key is the fourth ray. Is the prominent reality of the fourth ray, and this earth is the fourth ray, and that the whole entire cosmos is a harmonic value of the fourth ray, and everything is set in the quality of the fourth ray through the mind of God, through the higher mind of God, through all the vehicles of God. And it radiates in 7 radiating qualities. Yeah? And that's just in nature, whether we think of the speed of light or the distance or the density or the matter of something. It all comes down to the same mathematical equations, yeah, to the influence of 7. Yeah? And so in its divinity, you know, when humanity takes a consciousness and takes their mind into divinity and thinks, the Lord is here, this is a planet that the Lord's on, we are one with the Lord, we incarnate with the Lord to be with the Lord. Yeah? So that is this aspiring us, yeah, to move toward the realization of the Lord. Yeah? So you got to look for Dharma TV. Does that make sense? Yeah? Because the Lord is unveiling you, but the Lord veils you. Does that make sense? God is in charge of this whole thing, no matter what we're going through. But we have to cooperate. Does that make sense? In order to allow God to do, because there's laws involved in this. Yeah? So it's a matter of us being 2nd ray and not 6th ray. Yeah? So it's that invocation, evocation process, and the recognition of every day being a holy day. And that's the reason why we do the meditation or any of this. Yeah? Okay, so let's do the invocation, evocation. Yay! I showed the other night a video of a yogi in India who is a student of Babaji, yeah? And lineage goes in through Yogananda and on to this day. Yeah? So he's been around for a long time, yeah? But there aren't a lot of people that talk about the coming of Maitreya, you know, other than Benjamin Krim, people like that. Yeah? But in reality, this is a guy that really does talk about it, but he talks about all the things of Hindi reality, and mainly his focus is Babaji and Shiva, because he's under the influence of Shiva. That's God to him. Yeah? You know, so his teaching is direct lineage, yeah, to the relationship of the avatar. How the avatar, what the avatar is up to, yeah? Because Babaji is the avatar, and that's his guru. So he's kind of pretty up to date with the reality of Babaji and the externalization of Maitreya. Yeah, so I'm going to show that video again. It's only about 8 minutes long.
This appears to be a sorry state from our limited thinking and material point of view, but from the higher spiritual state, it is just a means to balance the 3 gunas of sattva, luminosity, rajo activity, and tamo inertia. These 3 qualities which pervade in the universe, whether through hugging one another or through war or through a world war-like situation, this balance in the world has to come. Then descending in millions of bodies will be the power of the great avatar called the Kalki avatar, who is known as the Kalki Maitreya, who was taught by the great Rishi Parashar and Parashuram. Kalki Maitreya will come 2012 and will carry on his work and teach on the western border of the United States of America, all along the western coast. Because of certain upheavals, certain changes to be made from the tectonic plates, geographically, emotionally, mentally. All negativity and excess of inertia will be eliminated, and the balance of sattva, raja and tama will be there, but sattva guna will predominate, and righteousness and truth, humanity shall be established, the sixth root race. If you want to know, Christ is the Maitreya, the Kalki Maitreya is the second advent. He is the Christ. He is the fifth secret Buddha. So he will be the world teacher to succeed the Christ, who is called the Kalki Maitreya. Now the next Manu will take over the changing of guards, okay, and the changing of the baton, the very handing over of charge. You see, when an old person leaves and a new person takes over, no matter how efficient, even in camps you see when they leave, there's a lot of discrepancies, a lot of loopholes which happen. It takes time to learn, it takes time to change the guard. So it will take 600 years, or specifically 300 years. This change and handing over has already started 300 years ago, and it is now at 2012 where the baton will be handed over to the... Our earth has 7 bodies. Om Bhuvam Bhuvam Swaham Maham Janam Tapam Satyam. So in all the 7 globes and all the 7 lokas, the change will happen. There are 7 planets. Each planet is divided into 7 root races. Each of them is divided into 7 sub-races. It will happen all on the septenary plane. That's why the Kalki avatar in a mystic sense is called the Sapta Sapti, not 7-Eleven. 7 by 7. So it's called 7 by 7, 49. Sapta Sapti. Lunch doesn't matter, dinner doesn't matter. It's only the soul-to-soul contact that matters. It's only a victory of the light over the darkness that matters. And that's what we are working to in the Here Now Truth Alive. The work has already started. Wake up. What are you talking? As I'm talking, I'm infusing you with the fire. I'm infusing your spine with a sword of knowledge. It's being done in the Here Now, right now. You're being prepared. The coming of the second advent is being prepared through here. So 1/2 of the globe is being prepared. The time has come. We have to wake up. And this is the 2012, the specific work on the spiritual plane is the handing over the baton of the world teacher Krishna Maitreya to Yoga Avatar Lahiri Mahasaya. And so the good work will carry on. This whole wheel of the world turns by the power of sacrifice, goodwill and constancy. That's why we want your soldiers to be steady and constant. Don't waver. Don't waver. Don't be the hurricane. Be the eye of the hurricane. Steady. It's still. Not a flame will flicker.
Mano.
Yep. Alright, is that one working? Not that one either, huh? Are they actually all... That one working? Yay! That one working. Alright. Yeah, so he's a pretty interesting guy. He's a direct lineage, from Lahiri and then Yukteswara, and Yukteswara's disciple, which would be Paramahansa Yogananda. And at the same time, there was another disciple who was responsible for all of India, and people didn't know of him, but that disciple from the Yukteswara is the one that this guy was a disciple of. And in reality, the two of them were equal in mastery. Yeah, each one of them had gone through a process where they actually met Babaji. So they received transmission, they received the blessing, they had that experience, that process. So they're carried on. But that came from a previous life. When this guy talks about his meeting of Babaji, he goes through all this stuff, and when he gets to Babaji, Babaji only says, yeah, yeah, and he keeps saying all these great things, and you're the guy that da-da-da-da-da, and I go, yeah, and that'd be it, and then he go, well, yeah, and I go, and he goes, And I go, yeah, like that. And then lightning came and all that shit, because I got excited, I wanted him to stop, But anyway, the process for him was that I was happy with him. I smiled, and I really liked him, and I knew who he was, and it was great to see him again, and that was his experience. He remembered my name, which is very handy for me, because I don't give my name. That's why I'm known as so many different names. I'm given a name when I'm born. I'm given a name in an incarnation or an emanation, but most people don't remember me. So it was really a great experience for me to have him remember me. So that's why he's doing what he's doing now. Because this is the reincarnation of Babaji, his teacher. And he's very, very aligned to Kalki Maitreya and the coming of Kalki Maitreya. It's not about, like all the other gurus are going, it's about them and it's about their, Maitreya monastery. This is Shambhala, this is the pyramid. And they're getting all that information from me, obviously, and they know it. But yet they can't step aside, And at least I could see where this guy's stepping aside enough to where at least he's talking about me in a physical sense, that I'm here. Where all the rest of them won't talk about me in a physical sense. So it's nice. I like seeing it. So, but don't go off and become his yogi student disciple. Just relax and enjoy the fact that he knows this stuff. All right, so let's do our invocation. Okay, just relax. I invoke the power, the love, and the wisdom of my ashram, soul, and monad. To guide me into the right activity in the plan. To clarify and stimulate my mind. To transform and transmute my feelings and emotions. To energize and vitalize and heal my physical and etheric body. Through this day and every day, I ask this in the name of the Christ to serve the One. All in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Just relax. Okay, open your eyes. Yay. Okay. So, for those people who are in the European region of this here world, I'll be going there. Tara and I are traveling on. Going to go to the UK and do a darshan in Glastonbury and do a meditation in Glastonbury, public meditation, and possibly one in London. And so all of you who are out there, in that area of the globe, I would recommend that you get your calendar together and call Glastonbury and find out the date. When is it? September 16th. Yeah, that's the date. Okay, so Glastonbury is where the darshan's going to be. And so I recommend you try and get there and try and get to the meditation. And if I'm going to do one in London, join that too. Be it as many of these events as you possibly can, because it's all a matter of transmission, and I don't get out much. I stay right here, or I'm in Hawaii, and nobody meets me unless it's absolutely spontaneous. And I don't do any teachings other than virtual. So I'm not really out there public, gather students and be obligated to be in that situation. So when I do that, I really recommend that you take advantage of the situation and be there, or lose that opportunity, because this is for your country. This is for that side of the world. I'm sending people. 2 of our Sangha members are going to Omaha. We're setting up a Dharma center there, and we should have it up and running within a week or 2. And we're going to begin the process of soul therapy, and then beginning doing darshans in the middle of the United States, and open up another radio show to where I can work out of there and do teachings on a virtual, both video and audio. So like I did before. So this is all in preparation of people being prepared for the externalization. Because I'm going to go into India, into Tibet, be very formally externalized. And when I come forth, I'm expecting a lot of people to want to meet Jesus. This is an opportunity. I mean, you can go to the movie anytime, you can go to a fair anytime, you can go to a rock and roll festival anytime, but I'm telling you people, you're going to go to meet Jesus. This is a very rare opportunity. I do not get out a lot. I will not put myself in a situation where I'm with hundreds of thousands of people standing in front of me. I won't do it. So when I make myself available, make yourself available when you can. And I'll do everything I can to stay virtual. And you can always have, a direct sit-down teaching with me, in a virtual way. But I am going to begin externalizing, and I really want to make a very big impression upon humanity in relationship to all the religions. And I want us all to clean them up. Take responsibility for your church. Take responsibility for all of it. The priest is not in charge of the church. The nun is not in charge of the church. The church is Jesus Christ's church. It's not Mother Mary. It's not the saints. It's not anybody else's church. It's Jesus' church, and that's your church. Yeah? Everybody's a disciple to Jesus. Everybody. Yeah? So when you go into that church, get to know that priest and don't trust him. Yeah? Trust Jesus. Yeah? But don't give it up. Yeah? To this process of, dogma that allows you to just willfully accept the dogma of a person who claims to be a religious leader or a religious teacher. It's really a very powerful position for a person to be in. And to just go to Christian school for 5 years and come out and do a little ministry and all those things does not make you a person who's qualified to do that. It takes 30 or 40 years. And then, the 20,000 that applied, only 12 or 13 come out. That's the truth. This road is a hard road. And you should expect that from your teachers. Yeah? You should not get what you're getting. It's because you do not know qualifications. You do not know it. I do. Yeah? And so you should. You should discern, you should discriminate, you should see the things that are going on. And when I externalize, I'm going to make these things very, very public. Yeah. So it's for all of us to take a hand in this process of helping to make things right. Yeah. Because whether it be Tibetan Buddhism or the Muslim reality or the Christian reality, it all needs to be existing. Yeah. It all has its truth. Yeah. It's just that it needs to be right. It needs to be the truth. Yeah. And so in my process, when I come forth, my process is to give people the strength to be able to stand up against darkness. And the ability to be able to, when it's time, if they have to choose, between their loved ones and their priest, that they have the integrity to discern and discriminate and know whether or not someone is really being violated or whether or not this is a wrong situation. Any situation, all things, we should be able to hear and feel our loved ones. That's the church. Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah? It's the quality that comes with the 7 rays. It's the quality that comes with the heart of Christ. Yeah? That's where the protection's at. That's where the church exists, is in a person. Yeah? You're the temple. Yeah? Does that make sense? Yeah? So when I externalize, that's the way I'm going to be doing, just like I always do. But in my process, it is a process where everybody takes full responsibility for building more churches, making God more present. Yeah? Bringing God into your very life, into your food, into your actions, into your activity, without it being a religious, fanatical process, but being a real higher mind and not a lower mind process. Yeah? Influence under Buddha nature, you're getting it yourself, which means higher mind, the nature of higher mind. Yeah? So you're getting that. So let's utilize it. Yeah? Make sense? Alrighty, Daddy. Thank you very much. Enjoy. That's it for today.